Hello class. In last video, I've demonstrated how to model this house. So here in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to unfold CUV, clean CUV, and then we're going to texturize this model. Alright, so now let's get started. So I'm going to open another file. Here we go. And here, let me hide this temporarily. So in last video, before I bring this model to Unity 3D, for that demonstration, I merged the whole thing together as one file, right? Since now we are moving on to texturize this model, and we're going to create multiple materials, different material for the glass and for the wood and for the roof, for the stones, or other stuff. So it will be super hard for you to apply such many materials on a single model, right? So for that purpose, for texturing and material purpose, I would put all of these pieces as a separate parts. Okay, so if you don't have a backup of your model as a separate pieces, and what you can do is you can select this whole thing and go to mesh and separate, and then you're going to have this folder, right? So you're going to select everything inside here. So from the top one, hold on shift, select the bottom one, and don't select the history nodes. So we're going to select all of the models and go to modify and freeze transformation and edit, delete its history. So you're going to delete its history nodes, right? And then you can, go to the different views and select, for example, select the fence and hit Command G for Mac. And if you are on Windows, use a Control G instead. So see here, I put it in the folder, and you can rename it as a fence, right? So you can start to organize your files. So here, I put all the pieces of the fence together as one folder, as you can see. And here's the window folder, and I have individual windows and door folder for each door and the frames and the door window. All right, so we're gonna start with the fence. So I'm going to go under this folder and then select the first one, hold on shift, select the bottom one. See, this is the advantage of grouping your pieces of models together, so you know what are each file. Okay, select the whole thing, and then I'm going to go to here, UV and automatic. So you're going to project the UV of each piece from 6 different directions, and then I'm going to go to UV editor. Here we go, and this is how it looks. So it projected all of the individual pieces as UV. Okay, so next step, I'm going to right click and go to this UV mode and select the whole thing, and then hold down Shift K and right click, and then go to unfold and unfold tool setting, and I'm going to choose a global solver and apply. And you'll see nothing going to be changed because these are square shapes, and each face is aiming to a different axis. So when I project the each column from different axis, each face, the proportion is still same as here, so nothing gonna be changed. All right, so now next step, I'm going to organize the UV a little bit. So I'm going to go back here, right click and object mode. Okay, object mode, and then select the first one, hold on shift, select the bottom one, so select the whole thing here, and then okay, let me bring it up. All right, and then go to modify and go to layer out. Okay, so go to edit and reset the setting. I'm not sure if someone else used your computer and used the Maya before. So reset the setting, and here we would like to choose single or multiple objects. So now we have multiple objects, and we don't want their UV be overlapping, so this is non-overlapping. So later on, you're going to put each column in a different location, and when you texturize your model, you can create a different texture for each column. For example, this one I put a red color, this one blue, this one green, this one purple. You can do all of these creative things with this. All right, and then pre-scale, choose world, and what it will do is, see here, right now all of these columns, their UV has the same length, same scale, right? However, you know, it is incorrect. This smaller column is much smaller than this one, this bigger one. So definitely this one, the UV should be bigger, right? So when you choose world, it will gonna compare all of these objects you selected, and it can compare their scale, and then it's going to change the scale of their UV based on their model's scale. Okay, and also make sure you check on FNIP reversed. So what we will do is, in the previous lesson, I've mentioned that when you check on shaded UV, and if you see any piece of UV is in red color, that means that specific piece of UV is being flipped. You know, it have been reversed. So you need to flip it back, and that is a positive phase, you know, aiming to the front. So it should be showing blue color. So when you choose flip reversed, that means if you have any UV, the phase is reversed, and then you're going to flip it back to the correct way. All right, and then go down here. Here is one thing you will need to change. So space and preset, we're going to choose 2048. So that's the higher resolution texture map we're going to use for our model. So if you do 512, so basically the percentage space, it will be bigger, because when you have a smaller texture map, definitely the UV should be have a longer gap, right? So for example, 512 pixel image, for this gap, it will only have about, for example, 10 pixels. However, if you do 2048 pixel texture image, for this size gap, it's gonna be 100 pixels, right? So you're gonna adjust the gap, the space, based on the dimension of the map you're going to use. So definitely here we want to choose the higher resolution, because we're going to use high resolution texture maps. All right, so that's it, and then going to click on apply, and then you see it immediately changed, right? So these are the UV from the taller columns, and here are the shorter one, right? And let me see. Okay, so now we've done with this, and what I'll do is go to UV and select this whole thing, and then hit R key for scale, and then scale it down a little bit. As I mentioned in the previous lesson, you want to leave your UV a little bit gap between, you know, your UV and the boundary of the cell. It's nice to have some gaps. All right, and then here. So I did a little bit slow for this demonstration, you know. However, when I'm modeling for my own project, it would only take me about like 5 seconds. So when you get used to this process, you can really speed up your workflow. It can be very fast. All right. So now let's move on to the roof. So for the roof, I can also go to UV and automatic. I'm a lazy guy, and I don't want to go to each face, and I just drop a automatic and it's done. Right, and then go to UV and select the whole thing, hold on shift, right click and go to unfold, and then we'll apply a global solver. See, you're going to change the scale of the top and bottom faces. Okay, and then what you'll do is select this whole thing in object mode, and go to modify and go to layout. You can just apply it since we have applied one time, and then go to UV, double click on this piece, and hit W key for move, and then hold on DK, D for pivot point, okay, and then add VK, V for Victoria, okay. So D and V, and then you can bring your pivot point here, and you're gonna snap it on this corner, and then release the keys, and then hold on hit W key for move, and then hold on VK for snap, and snap it down to here. So now you will snap these two faces together, and they will stay in the same spot, right? And then you can go to UV and double click on this piece, and double click here and move it closer, okay, and then select the whole thing and bring it towards this side, And then select this whole thing, and we're going to scale it down, scale it up, because this is the roof, and we want it to have a bigger texture. Okay, so that's for the roof. And since we're done with the roof and the fence, we can select both of them and temporarily hide them. And then here we can select this the ceiling. We can just go here, ceiling, floor, and these two stairs, and just go to here and UV and automatic. Okay, and here we go. And then I'm going to select the floor first. So that is the UV, and we'll do the same procedure. So go to UV, double click here, hit W key, and then hold down DK and then VK and snap the pivot point to here, and then hit W key again, and then hold down VK to snap it to the other face, right? And then we can double click here, and then move it down, and then bring this up. Since this is the floor and we want it to have a bigger texture space. All right, and then same thing for the ceiling. So I'll just move very fast since I'm repeat the same procedure. Oops. All right. So now we've done the ceiling and the floor, and I can select both of them and display and hide. And then for the stairs, I believe I already done it. So I'm gonna select both of them, okay, and then go to modify and narrow out. So you're going to narrow out them in different locations. And see here we are waste space. So I'm gonna select this piece, move it to this side, and go to modify and rotate, and then place it down here, and I think maybe just these two. So I'm gonna bring it here, and also modify and rotate, and bring it here. All right, and then I can select this whole thing and scale it up a little bit more. All right. So that is the stairs. So let's select both of them and hide. Okay, so now we can move on to the walls. So the wall is more kind of complex, right? So you're going to just go to UV and automatic, and here we go. So it extracted all of the individual faces. So here's the one thing. Okay, see, if I double click on here. Hold on, let me go to object mode and command S key, or you can just go to file and save scene. So save your scene before you move forward. My Maya just crashed when I recorded this tutorial first time, and then I have to record it again, start over. Alright, so see, I select this whole thing is the top face. However, no one gonna be able to see it, right? And also this one is the bottom one. No one will be able to see it. So I'm going to select both of these two and move it to the side. And then what I'll do is for these are the faces. These are the out faces and inner faces. So we will have a lot of details on them. So these are important. So what I'll do is I'll select this whole thing in UV selection mode. Hold on Shift K and then right click and go to Unfold and apply a global solver to it. Here we go. And then I'm going to, in the UV selection mode, I'm going to only select this part, include this one. Okay, only this part. And then go to modify and layer out options. So this time I'm going to change it to per object overlapping. Okay, and then apply. So you can see that it only analyzes the UVs we have selected and place them together, and these two, it doesn't change it. If we try a different way, another way, a single object or multiple object, you're going to analyze the whole thing. So we don't want that to happen. And then here I can move this piece to here, and then select this whole thing and scale it down because it's not useful, right? Nobody gonna be able to see it, so we can just make it really small. See here, we can make it really small and place it in the center. And then we can select this whole thing and scale it down. And one thing is matter, as you can see if I select this face as example. So this is the face, right? The outside face. So right now this is up axis and this is down edge, this is up edge. So it's kind of rotated 90 degree here. So we can rotate it back. So we can go to the UV, select this whole thing, and go to modify and rotate, right? So now this is the roof, this is the floor edge, and we can move it up, place it in the center. All right, so that is the wall, and we can hide it as we've done. Okay, so now let's move on to the windows. Okay, so as you can see for the window, these four are the same, so I can just do the UV for one and duplicate for the other three. And same thing here, so I can just do it one and then duplicate to another side. Alright, so I'll move on to this one. So I'll select this piece and go to UV and automatic. Here we go. Okay, and then we'll go to, see here. So here's a lot of complex structures. That's why it has so many faces. However, it's fine. We can, just go to UV mode and select the whole thing and just scale it down a little bit. See, I didn't unfold this UV because the shape at here is complex, but all of the faces is aiming to the 3 different axes, and I don't have to do anything with that, with the unfold UV. So I can just keep the UV as it is. All right, and here I would like to add windows as well. So I'll go to, I would like to add the glass for the window. So I'll go to polygon primitive and create a cube, and I'm going to hit W key and move this cube to here. So I can just hold down VK, snap it to here, and hit F key to frame it in. So here is it. And then I can just bring it to this side and then scratch it along Z, so you're making it thinner. And then grab this slider, I can make it bigger, right? And then I can move it up and toward this way, and then scale it along X until it inserts into the frames, and along this axis, and maybe a little bit more. So this will be the window, and before I duplicate for all of them, I'm going to select this one thing, and I'm going to apply a UV planar. So go to these options. So this plane is aimed to the Z axis, as you can see. So I'm going to check on Z and check on keep image width and height ratio and project. So here is it. Here's the UV, and then I can just select the whole thing and scale it down. As you can see, one face is in red color. That is fine because I'm going to, well, if you only apply a material to it, for example, half transparent material to it, it is fine. If you're going to later on, you're going to do texturing, and you may want to separate each of the faces. For when I mentioned texture, for example, if you also have some patterns on the glass, right, you want to show the patterns, and then you may extract each face and make sure their UV is correct. Okay. However, in my case, is fine. So what I'll do is, before I duplicate, I'm going to go to Hypershade. So Windows Rendering Editor, Hypershade. So here I'm going to create a new material, and I'm going to create a foam material, foam for glasses, and I'm going to rename it as ILC glass, and this is for windows. Later on, I'm going to create a glass for doors. All right, hit Return key, confirm, and then for the color, I'm going to double click and choose a blue color. And for transparent, let's see, I'll apply it first. Select it, apply the material, and then hit 6K to show the material. Here is it. And then if I change its transparent, object mode and 6K. Okay, so now I applied it. So as I change its transparent, I think I selected the wrong material. So select the glass window and change it to transparent, and now you can see that the glass material is half transparent, and I can see through it, right? I can see the windows in the back side. Alright, so now I can just duplicate this whole thing, Command D to make a duplication, and hit W to move it to a different location. So if you're on Windows, use Control D instead. So here's it, and then Command D again and duplicate to here. And then I can select all these three. Okay, but before I move forward, I will rename it. So this window, I'm gonna extract it out here. So I'm gonna say window large 1 because we have a small windows. So here large 1, and here it will be window L1 glass 1, and it will be glass 2 and glass 3. Alright, so now I'll select these 3 glasses and hit Command D to make a duplication, and as you can see, the name convention is automatically changed. So I'll move it up and then bring it forward. Okay, here we go. Alright, so that is the first window, and then I can select the whole thing and hit Command G to pull them together, and I can see window L1 group. Alright, so now I can select this whole folder and hit W key for move W, and as you can see, is pivot point, the anchor point is here in the center of the world. So I'll hold down DK and then hold down V to snap its anchor point to the bottom corner here. Okay, and then I can hit Command D to make a duplication, and then I can bring it toward this way, and by holding VK I can snap it to here. Okay, and then I can make a duplication and move it out, and then hold down VK to snap it to here. Okay, that's accurate, that's great. So then hit DK and then hold down VK to snap the duplication to here. So now we have created all these 4 windows, and we can delete the old ones. Okay, so we can just go to the Windows folder and select all of them, and I want to deselect these 2, so I'll hold down Control and deselect these 2, and then just delete. Alright, so now the windows are here, and then we can move on to here, and then we can just select one glass and hit Command D to make a duplication and move it to here. And since it's in the Windows folder, and we're going to hold on Shift key and then PK for unparent. Okay, Shift and P. Okay, here is it. And then here I can rename it as a window small 1 and glass 1, and I can select this window and hold on Shift key and PK to unparent it and move it here. So I'm going to rename it as window S1 as well, and as I'll select this whole thing, this model. First I'm going to go to its UV and automatic, and here is it. Okay, so I'm going to go to its UV and select the whole thing and hit R key and scale it down, and here select is the glass window. Here's it, and hit R key for rotation, E key for rotation, and rotate it in 90 degree. Okay, and then I'm going to move it to here and make sure you insert it in here. All right, and then move it up and move it toward this way, and going to adjust the size, the width, and move it up a little bit maybe. All right, and before I move forward, see now because we have changed this dimension, so we have to make sure you're still selected in object mode, and I will have to go to the UV and planar, and this time see we are the face is aimed to x axis, so I'm going to select x axis and project, and here we go. And I'm going to select the whole thing, the UV, and scale it down a little bit. And then I'm going to go to object mode, select this glass, and hit Command D, make a duplication, and move duplicated glass to here. And select both of them, and hit Command D to duplicate, and move it up. And bring it forward. Here we go. All right, and then we can select the whole thing here, Command G for group, and then rename it. And then, as you know, what I've done before. So hold on DK for its pivot point, and then hold on VK to snap the pivot point back to here, the corner. And then hit Command D to make a duplication, and then hit W key for move and VK for snap, and we're going to snap it to here. Okay, so now the two windows are here, and then we can just delete the old one. Here we go. And then we have to change the name convention. So here's a small 2, and here's here's a 2, L2, and here's L3, and here's L4. Okay, so these are the windows, and now their UV is entirely clean. Okay, it looks a mess at here because I selected the whole thing. However, the UV is good. Okay, and then actually I forgot one thing. One way to check the UV is here we can go to create a new material, and we can create a number material, and we can rename this one as a checker. So one way we can check the UV, if the UV is flattened or not, if the proportion is good or not, is we can create a material and we can go to its color. Instead of apply a file texture, we can apply a checker. Okay, and then we can select all the frames. Hold on Shift and select all the frames and apply this checker. And now you can see the checker is a little bit big. It doesn't make any sense. So what I will do is select the material and go back to its color channel, and here down below you will find UV coordinates, and go here and click on this arrow again, so you're going to open it in attribute editor, or you can just go directly in the Hypershade. It's the same window as you can see. Alright, so here for repeat UV, so we'll just repeat the checker, repeat the texture so we can see the smaller. So here I'll put the 64, and hit the return key once you've done. And here you'll go, it'll make more sense. So imagine if this is a texture, right? And if your UV, the proportion of each face is different, is not unified, and then this checker will show in different sizes, right? However, as you can see, all of these checkers, they are showing in the same size, so that means the UV is very good. All of the faces has the same scale, okay, in the UV editor. All right, and let's move on. So I finished the window, so I'll select the whole thing and go to display hide selection. Okay, I think the only thing we have left is the door. So for the door, I'll do it very quick. I'll select all the frames, and I'll add the. Actually, I'll select the whole thing and go to UV and automatic. and then go back to object mode and select this one, this one, this one, this one. So these are the frames, and go back to its UV. Okay, and let's see if, okay, here's the thing. So if you want to paint different texture on different door frame, if you want to make them different, and you're going to select all these four and go to near out, right? So make sure they are not overlapped. So that's your choice. If not, and then you can just select individual one and fulfill its UV into this space. So here I'll just do the first matter just in case. So you're going to go back to near out and check on single or multiple objects and make sure they are non-overlapping, and make sure the setting is good and apply. So now all of the door frames is in a different spot, so that means later on I can paint a different texture on different door frame. So that gives me more freedom to do that. And for each door, see here. Okay, so these are the door. And also, as you can see, it has this structure, and for the door frame, it also have this structure. So I would not unfold this UV, because let me show you an example. Because for example, this one, as you can see, when I model it, I've extruded and pushed it in, so it have this curve shape, right? So right now, as I do automatic projection method, its UV is flattened like this, and then if I select the UV and go to unfold and unfold option and unfold, and you're going to see changes its proportion, because this is supposed to be the correct proportion, and however, see, you're going to twist the line, you're going to rotate the line, because you're going to relax all of these faces. So this is what I want. I want all of the faces to be straight, so I'm going to hit Command Z to go back. So this will be better, right? All of the lines in straight line. So as you know, when you do texture later on, it could be easier to draw on a straight line. So I'll just keep it in this because it doesn't change too much, right? So let's move on to the door. Let's see, first door. Good, good, good. So again, that's your choice. If you want each door with a different look, you can select all of them and go to modify and layer out. That's it. However, you will have a smaller texture image for each door, right? So that's totally your choice. So I'm going to do it in this way. So I'm going to do two different ways. So for the door, I'm going to put all the three doors together and not overlap. And for the door handle, I'm going to do a different one. So see here, for the door handle, for this piece and this piece, I will not change them. So I will let them overlap. Same for the door handle. I will just let them overlap in this way. However, I still want to select the door handles and scale down the UV a little bit so it's not overlap with the boundary, the border. Alright, so that's it. So that's for the UV of our model, and we can move on to texturize our model. So I'll show everything. Okay, and here I've provided a few textures that we can start. So remember, these are the start stage. Okay, and later on we're going to paint different texture on each image. So we're going to use this raw image as the start stage. And also for this image, I've used all of them sameness texture. So what is the sameness texture? So you can just go to Google and search, for example, here, metal texture, and you can put a sameness. Right, so you will find a lot of sameness texture. Okay, so what sameness texture does is, say if you go to Photoshop here, and this is one texture I've downloaded, right? And for sameness texture, it means if you duplicate and bring the duplication to here, and when you connect them together, you will not tell where the edge is, and you can repeat them as much as you want. See, you will not be able to tell the edge. All right, so that's it. So here I have sameness textures, and I'm going to create a first material, and I'm going to create a blim. I'm going to start with a blim because later on, as I apply the texture here, I'm going to also create the specular map for reflection and normal map for the bumps. Okay, so here I'll see wall material 1, and for counter channel, I'm going to load a file, and I will load a excuse me, let's say wood wall 1. All right, and I'm going to select the wall and apply this material to it. This is how it looks, right? It's super big. So what I'll do is select the material, the wall material 1, and go to its counter channel again, and go to its UV coordinates. Click on this arrow and repeat this UV. So here let's try 16 and see how it looks. Okay, so 16 looks good. Maybe it's too small. So here I'll do 12. It's bigger, right? This is one function I don't like. It just merged the window together. Hold on. Alright. Okay, so that is for the wall, and then let's create other materials. And let's create a okay, and let's create another blim material, and let's say this one I will say wood M1, right? And I'll go to checker here, file, and let's see wood texture 1. Okay, so bring it in, and it would be also better if we just go directly to UV coordinates and change its UV coordinates, repeat as this time. Let's try maybe not 32, let's try 16. Okay, repeat U and V, and I would apply it to the fence. So like this whole folder, and right click on the wood material just created. Here we go, and we can get closer to see how it looks. So see, this is the wood material, wood texture on our model. The scale just looks good. And then window frame. So we're going to go to create a new material and new blim material. And this one, wood M2, and file texture. And this time we'll use the second one, this one. Okay, and down below here for UV coordinates, click on the UV coordinates and repeat. Let's try 16 as well. Oops, 16. Okay, and I'm going to select the frames. These two and these two, not this one. And this one. Okay, and then right click on the wood material 2, and let's see how it looks. Okay, look good, and check every window to see if the texture is, it looks good. I think it's good. Side. Okay, very good. All right, so that's for a window frame, and we'll create a material for the roof. So I'll go create a material blim and roof M1, and here for a file texture, and I'll use this roof texture, and go to the UV coordinates and repeat its UV by, let's try 8, and select the roof and apply right click and roof material, assign. So here you may see a issue. As you can see, this is the roof tile, right? This is the top, this is the bottom. However, our texture shows in a different direction. So we can just select the roof model and comes here, and we can select the whole thing and modify and rotate, and see if this is the correct direction. Looks to be the correct direction. Yep. And another side, this side is not. Okay, let me see. Okay, so what we can do is we can just select this face. So here I can select, go to face selection mode, select the top face. Okay, so if you have this issue, select the model and go to show and isolate select. So you'll only be able to select, see the selected object. So here I'll select this face, right? And I'll be able to see it here. And what I can do is I go to edge and select this edge and hold down Shift K and right click and cut, and then select this face and go to modify, rotate, and rotate again. So rotate it back, right? So this time this is the top edge, this is the bottom edge, so it's aiming to the right direction, and this side also right direction. And let's take a look at the bottom, and bottom this side looks good. Okay, this face doesn't look good here, right? So we'll be able to select the edge at here, so we can select here and then come here, hold down Shift and right click and cut, and then we're going to select this face and modify and rotate and rotate again. Here we go. Okay, this is from the bottom and this is from the top. Alright, so now select the whole thing and make sure UV is not across the boundary, the border. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the material because right now the tile looks a little bit small. So I'll select the roof material and go to its color channel, go to the UV coordinates, and maybe repeat just 6 times. Let's see how big is that. Okay, and then I can go to show and isolate selected and uncheck view selected. So this is how it looks. Okay, so that's the roof, and we can select the roof and temporarily hide it since we're done with it. Okay, so now for the ceiling, we'll select it and just right click on the wood material tool we have created. Apply. Well, looks a little bit small. Okay, so what I'll do is maybe I'll just create a different material. So here I'll see wood M3. And here let's give it texture. So apply this texture. Okay, and select the ceiling and apply wood material 3 and see if it looks good. Okay, the color looks good. And maybe we can select it and apply wood 1 and see how it looks. You know what? Wood 1, the material 1 looks better, so I'll just keep it. Okay. I'll keep that one. And for the wood 3, I'm going to apply it to the floor. Here we go. Here we go. All right, so select the wood material 3 and then go to its checker, the checker here. Okay. This is one thing I don't like. Hypershade is always, because my window is very small and it always kind of merge into other windows. Okay, with material 3, and here I'll go to its color and go to its UV coordinates, and repeat its UV by, let's try 8. Looks good. Okay, so that is the floor. And I still kind of feel, the texture on the ceiling looks good, but I feel the repeat too much, too small. So what I can do is I can create a new material, a new blend material. And this one I will say wood material 4. And for color, I will still use wood texture 1. However, for repeat, I'll just do about maybe 6. And select it and apply wood M4, so it's bigger, right? Okay, so now it's the door. Let's see, for the door frames, we can just go here. Door frame A, door frame B, and C. We can just apply a material 2. Here we go. However, as you can see, the door frame, right, the texture, it comes to a different direction. And if I select the ceiling and hide it, and you can see that our door frame in here also has the same issue. Okay, so I can select all the door frames and just to go to the UV editor. And here we go, UV editor, and then select everything and just go modify and rotate, and make sure you leave some gaps. Here, leave some gaps between the UV and the boundary. And object mode, and let's see. Okay, looks good. And the inner side should also looks good. And for the door, I want to let me see if I select all the 3 door and apply a existing material we have. And I'll go back to window, Hypershade. Here is it. So if I apply a maybe wood 3, doesn't look good. Wood 1. Okay, looks good. So I'll just use wood 1. And here is the glass again, right? So I'll create a new material and a foam material, and I'll say glass door. Okay, and for color, I'm going to use green color and change the transparent, and select both these 2 windows and right click on the glass door, assign, so it'll be half transparent, right? I think it's too much, so I can go back to here and decrease its transparency. Decrease a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so what we left? Only the door handle. So I'm going to create a new material. Let's say blend material and metal M1. And here I'm going to give a file texture, and I'm going to use this one, this image, and I will not repeat its texture. Okay, so I'll just apply it directly to the door handle. So select these two and these two and here, and then come back here for metal, right click and assign. Okay, so that is our door handle. So it's a metal material. And for these two, I will apply a stone. Here, let's see, create a material and a blend material. And stone M1. And I'll give it texture and file texture. Let's see. Here I got two. Okay, I think I'm going to use this one. So I'll open, and for UV coordinates, I'm going to repeat it by maybe 4, and then select both of them and right click on the stone material, assign. Here we go. Okay, so let's take a final look of it. So that is the start point of texturing this house. So we, as you see, we only apply the texture, the diffuse map to it. Okay, we haven't done the null map and specularity map and gloss map. And also for the diffuse map, as I said, this is the start stage. You know, later on we're going to paint other elements on the texture. Okay, so that will be in the next video.